Hello everyone, Chris England here, this time doing a Legendary Hero Summoning session for Legendary Ninian. I was very surprised when we actually got Ninian for our Legendary Hero. I'm not horribly surprised that we got her. I do kind of wish that her kit was a little bit more interesting in terms of the passives. I'll say that having both Blue Feud as well as the attack speed catch is very, very interesting. I do like the fact that attack speed catch in her kit actively does synergize with what she wants to do by dealing penalties or by dealing penalties, making it easier for her to proc the effect as opposed to some of the other units that might have had it. Xander is probably one of the best examples of this, where he actually in his base kit does not inflict any penalties, so he has to focus on fighting at foes at full strength. So he's only really good in the first part of the battle. During the second part, his reduction doesn't do as much. And the only other unit that I'm actively missing from this banner is Legendary Byleth. However, I will be pulling for full circles because I don't know what I'm actually going to pull in general. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this Legendary Summoning session. And we start off with at least a 5-star and a 4-star special. This 4-star special, however, is one of the worst. And Luke, with a plus speed minus attack IV. I am very lucky that I've already pulled at least a couple of copies of him, because while he is going to become a plus 10 merge project, due to the fact that he has very little in terms of actual value from his skill sets, having a plus speed minus attack brave unit that has a brave sword makes him very, very, very hard to use. Now, luckily, I believe this puts mine at either a +2 or a +3. And we also do get another Legendary Xander. This time, while neither of my Xanders have actively been some of the best in terms of what they offer, this one is, I believe, plus HP minus defense as opposed to the plus res minus defense. So at least I'm getting rid of the -2 defense, as well as changing his IV from a less useful to slightly more useful. Now, a lot of players have complained that legendary banners are actively some of the worst to pull on. And I'll be very honest, I do agree with this, but I feel like for if legendary banners were able to spark without the Fate Pass, I would say that they have more value than that. In terms of what I see in general from these, I do indeed like the fact that while the 5-star portion is very limited to whatever it is, you might get really lucky, and you actually do rotate. KCB Bryan does a very good job with his legendary hero tracker, so you can keep an eye on when your merge project is coming back around for your next round, as well as a good idea as to what kind of heroes we get. Now, I do kind of wish that certain colors weren't stuck with two of the normal pools as opposed to some of the other cases where usually the color that's featured happens to be the one that usually gets all mythic or all mythic and legendary. I think all legendary or all legendary and mythic are usually the cases. And then there's some cases where you might get like full other ones just because of the sheer amount that they've been given. I think Reds had multiple cases, maybe one or two cases where they haven't had any real worry about anything else, about having units to spare. They actually have like overfilled their unit pool. But now we're starting to get to the point where it's balancing out. The second portion of that question is, I think, yes, I do think that the spark system could be changed. So anytime for any new new additions to the um, heroic Heropedia, so the actual list of heroes that you get, those could be for sparking with normaling. So you can spark. I'd even say you're allowed to take the special heroes out and just make legendary banners sparkable through normal methods, so without Fate Pass, and then stick with special heroes being Fate Pass exclusive. But the basic idea is that I think that every player should have access to more than just two elements in both in both legendary and mythic. Since we don't have any normal pool fire or wind, nor do we have any anima or darkness, which does kind of suck. So let's continue with the session. we continue on with some amazing luck, getting a free Sayri off of the Fighting Fire with Fire banner. Well, I don't say that having minus speed on, plus defense on her is necessarily a good thing. It is a unit that has Kestrel Stance 3 as well as Close Call, and giving that, having eh, having my Yenfei plus 10 project be able to eat a Seiri to get more damage reduction in addition to getting that Kestrel Stance is a very good thing. And the legendary luck continues with a legendary Lilina. This time, she actually is way better than what I have. Instead of the minus speed plus defense I currently have, she is plus attack minus HP. So that is a fusing. So I'll give another question. What are some of my choices for legendaries or mythics? So I think from perspective of my own, since we already have a good amount of lords that have legendaries, what I would like to see is mythics with a mythic pseudo duo kind of unit. Like taking, for example, Eliwood. Or how about even I'll actually take a better one and say Sophia with the spirit of Bramimond with her, as opposed to. So this would be a mythic unit that has the duo bonus, but this would be Sophia as the main with kind of like a spiritual Bramimond behind her, and this would be another idea for making not units that aren't necessarily mythics into mythics, because you could actively have more options. But in terms of like legendaries, I really want to see a legendary Soth. I think that would be awesome. I think that if they are, it would either be Volk or Soth, and I feel like Soth might actually be more interesting just because he actively has more value to the plot of Radiant Dawn. At least I feel like it, like he has. Alencia, definitely. And Alencia, in my book, I don't necessarily feel like a legendary would be a good one. I, oddly enough, feel like Mythic might be more interesting. Although it would, against my better judgment, I'd either be giving her Astra or Light, two of the sets that are a little bit more bloated than I would like to say. In terms of some older ones, we definitely are missing Ares and Eldigan. I really want to see Quan as a legendary. Legendary Quan, legendary Eldigan, legendary Ares. I think that having a dark mythic Julius, like fully taken over by Loptis, with dragon scales covering his entire body, you can even say this would be like the name would actively be Loptis. That would be awesome. But then again, I'm very focused on genealogy Thracia, as the fact that we have very few, they have very little active contribution to the actual game. They're missing more than 20 or so playable units without any kind of alts or base forms. Let's see if I can think of one more. I think one more question that I probably would answer is, are there any units that you would want to put from, would you be willing to put units from older mythic units into the regular pool, or into like a 4-star special legendary pool? And that would be awesome. As we've proven with both 4-star special rates, 4-star seasonal special rates, they actively make the game a lot better for players, because it always sucks when you get pity broken. It sucks even more when that pity break happens to be like a year 1 unit. Now, the other sucky part is that we aren't getting pity broken by legendaries. The only pity breaks are what's within the pool. So that's not necessarily the worst thing, but I feel like missing out on Gunthra, legendary Aphram, legendary, I think legendary Erica might also be ones. Legendary Bioma, just because they're too super old, really feels bad, especially if you're starting the game right in year 6 or 7. It does suck a lot. So those are my thoughts on legendary banners. I think so. To summarize, I think that there's definitely a good amount of characters that you can extend the legendary mythic idea to, including expanding on the mythic idea, but also the idea that legendary banners should have the 4-star legendary spark option, legendary special option to get older legendaries into the barracks of newer players, especially free to play. Well, that's it for that one. On to more summoning, hopefully with more luck. More luck continues, this time off of one of the special banners, getting a 4-star special to Barn. So I now have a +1. This one was plus defense minus res, as opposed to the plus attack, plus HP minus attack one that I already have. So again, a good merge. But I did manage to pull Ninian. This one's a plus HP minus defense. And while that's not the best IVs in general, it is the fact that I got Ninian. So I'm happy with what I have. I still will continue doing pulling. How about some less chancy ones? Like, are there any villains that I would like to see as legendary or mythic? Because we have gotten Medius as a dark mythic. We've gotten... Oddly enough, Letizia is not a legendary mythic special that was put in the banner for that one for whatever reason. So it is kind of sad for that one, but for maybe legendary options for villains or bosses, probably the easiest one I want to see is Arvis. And this can either be like a upgraded version of his young form, or just make him his old form as the Emperor. I'd also like to see a legendary Ishtar, since we have her ascended version. Maybe a legendary version wouldn't be too far off. A legendary Reinhardt would be an option. I would say, and I also really want to see more Olwen in general, just because I feel like she did get screwed by IS, but that's in and of themselves. I do want to see more of the legendary characters that are mentioned in the game but not actually playable. So like, for the best example could easily be the 12 Crusaders. We already have Uller, so we could get Balder, Heim, Falar, Tordo. We have Nair. An easy one would be Forseti, since we could easily have Forseti in his original form, or him possessing Lewin after his death. Probably in more futuristic ideas, we still kind of need I'd like to see either a legendary Mikoto or Sumeragi. If you're going for like 3 houses, I think Thales would definitely make an interesting mythic. Maybe also making Nemesis as a mythic in his prime, like before he got murdered by Saros or Rhea. I really can't think of anything specific. I think the probable big ones for me are going to be Arvis from 4, Ishtar from 4. I really think... I also think that Travant could also be interesting. But in general, there's a lot of potential for villains getting a legendary or mythic form. I do want to hear what everyone else has to say. What enemy units would you give legendary forms to? But for that, let's...
Spin the shit. Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? 一人学習帳みたいになんでもないことかっこ略法 I believe これは大義理静まり返ったらやいぎり輪になって踊りたいのにやっぱ取り合わなきゃいけないんだはいチーズでピューチーズ背もたれのない空気ス 달리는 섹시 물러간 내 애니메 뉴스 Much no help Nick dance and dance 마오연의 뮤비 받고 굴리를 down Look at me 시다다가 I'm going 자꾸니 크게 쇼군의 돌리 Hotel show 다만 아시 that throw 신호기야 마타기 음마타 그 M1 of you break it down Don't care I don't care I don't play such a dumb game Know what I mean? I don't need a seat I sit where I wanna sit Where I sit my own seat No doubt I don't believe the hype No need to think about Even on the cloud I lean on the haze and dance Gravity Are you ready? Are you ready? If just see free. We wanna liberalize as we dance. Pure play, no complaint. No see, just see free. No see, just see free.
London, Paris and Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong. Even if you're not there, you can be a king or queen on a game you play. So just do it. The silky flow with your patrol. Keep your tempo in control. Side punch, count countdown.
最後の一脚誰のもんで誰のもんで誰のもん最後の一脚誰のもんで俺のもんで俺のもんお前が俺の上に腰掛けた次の瞬間尻餅をつくお前が俺の上に腰掛けた次の瞬間に勝負がつく Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Don't care, I don't play such a dumb game. What I mean, I don't need a seat, I sit where I wanna sit. Where I sit, my own seat, no doubt. I don't believe the hype, no need to think about. Even on the cloud, I lean on the haze and dance. Hey, yo. Spin the shit, spin the shit. Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? ヒストリー学習帳みたいなんでもないことか攻略法アイビリップでは大義に静まり返ったらやいに輪になって踊りたいのにやっぱ取り合わないといけないんだはいチーズでビューチーズ背もたれのない空気ーズ
Turn sexy, will I got the enemy moves? Want you to help me dance and dance. My young baby back, we'll cool it down. Look at me, shit that I'm going. Jack you close, you're gonna do it. Put in stroke, damn it, I should get through. Shouldn't get my thing, my thing, let you break down.
Don't care, I don't care, I don't play such a dumb game. What I mean, I don't need a seat, I sit where I wanna sit. Where I sit, my own seat, no doubt. I don't believe the hype, no need to think about. Even on the cloud, I lean on the haze and dance. Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, リップでは大義に静まり返ったらやいに輪になって踊りたいのにやっぱ取り合わないといけないんだはいチーズでビューチーズ背もたれのない空気ーズ
Turn sexy, will I got the enemy moves? Want you to help me dance and dance. My young baby back, we'll cool it down. Look at me, shit that I'm going. Jack you close, you're gonna do it. Put in stroke, damn it, I should get through. Shouldn't get my thing, let you break down.
Don't care, I don't care, I don't play such a dumb game. What I mean, I don't need a seat, I sit where I wanna sit. Where I sit, my own seat, no doubt. I don't believe the hype, no need to think about. Even on the cloud, I lean on the haze and dance. Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? We wanna label us as we dance. Complete and not compete. No seat, just see free. No seat, just see free. We wanna label us as we dance. Pure play, no complaint. No seat, just see free. No seat, just see free.
London, Paris and Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong. Even if you're not there, you can be a king or queen on a game you play. So just do it. We're still people with your patrol. Keep your tempo in control. Side punch, count down.
最後の一脚誰のもんで誰のもんで誰のもん最後の一脚誰のもんで俺のもんで俺のもんお前が俺の上に腰掛けた次の瞬間尻餅をつくお前が俺の上に腰掛けた次の瞬間に勝負がつく Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it? Are you ready? Are you ready? If there's one thought, can you get it? Can you get it?
Luck continues. So this is the second Legendary Ninian I pulled. This one is plus speed, so this one will be the base one. Minus HP no longer matters since I am fusing. And I am getting all the skills put in right away, as opposed to having to grind for them, which is a very nice thing. I will admit that I actually did have a hard time choosing what would be my spark after this, but I realized that there was only one unit left on this banner that I wanted, that I had not pulled, that was not in the normal pool. I want Fallen Lilith, but I think getting Legendary Byleth is actually a little bit more interesting just because of his weapon, his special, and then just what he offers in general for the kit. So I did actually manage to pull that as the final 5-star of the set. So I did manage to get a good selection from this round of summoning. It was definitely better than some of the other Legendary Mythic sessions I've had before. as for a last question, with would I ever like to change what do I think of the summoning music in Fae? I'm one of the big reasons why I change it out for all of my videos as a into like No More Heroes or Dragalia Lost, basically any other game. I have three main reasons for this. The first one is it introduces new music to the pool for people that may not necessarily listen to anything outside of it. I have no guarantee if that's actually a valid reason. I put that kind of on the like first one being the lowest. The second one being that I record off my phone. So anytime I'm recording, it records breathing, it records dogs, it records lawnmowers, it'll record everything. I don't know if I would be able to change that so that I could record it on my computer and also get both versions, both this one and the Japanese version. But I think the biggest reason just is that I am kind of tired of it. I think the fact that it's been 6 years and they haven't changed a single, they have used the exact same tune for summoning. You can change the in-game music, but I don't think you can change the summoning music. And that's what kind of bothers me. Like if you could choose from like 4 different summoning methods. One was like a shamisen. Like it was the same song, but it was different instruments. Like maybe one would be like a rock version, one would be the bass version, one would be like a shamisen version. I wouldn't have any problem. So if I were to change it, I would actually really like to get the Dragalia Lost Bang by Daoko. I do actively love the No More Heroes 3 musical chairs soundtrack. I'm actually listening to that as I kind of make it as the background. Um, or just maybe something from like Arc Knights. Maybe even something that has like it's just not necessarily maybe like a gunshot kind of thing followed by like a you attain this kind of thing. That might actually be less interesting. But that's it for this round of summoning. I feel like I got very lucky with all of the summons in total. I did manage to hit a good amount of 5 stars for this one. I think I hit 4, which would be roughly about the average you could expect, should it be able to expect from a legendary banner. But that's it for this time around. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you another time. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Have a nice night.